Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another Starcraft 2 replay for you, as once again we have a great international engagement in between the two pro players. So let me just start by introducing the players to you guys, as we have spawning here in the lower right in the red. It is HARSTEM from the Netherlands. We're spawning here as the Protoss, and his opponent in the upper left in the blue is SCARLETT from Canada. So very nice strategic gameplay here as they're spawning on Cosmic Sapphire. Just see exactly what they have prepared for us. Of course, SCARLETT is known for her timing pushes against the Protoss and also against the Terran. Let's just see if she's actually going to opt to go for a timing push with some Roaches, with some Ravagers, some Zerglings, even some Queens. And let's also see what exactly the plans for HARSTEM are going to be here versus SCARLETT. Of course, many Protoss really like to go into mass Zealots, mass Stalkers pushes. Also later on, some Carriers, some Tempests, and Archons could also be an option here for him. Currently, they're pretty much opening up very much standardly, as SCARLETT is opening up here with a fast expansion, so no intentions by her to go for any early harassment, no spawning pool yet, no extractor, but it should follow up really soon after this expansion. And in comes the first scouting probe for HARSTEM. This is going to try to be, of course, as much as annoying as possible. Sees the extractor, should also see the spawning pool. Let's just check his main really quick. There is his gas already being done. Two probes are mining from there, and he's actually opting to go for a fast expansion, so no second gateway for him, straight fast expansion. And he should also follow up with a cybernetics core really soon. There is his probe still chasing out, still tries to mine some of the minerals from the enemy, so it's going to be annoying as possible, of course. And he's also going to see exactly what the next build order is going to be, of course. Around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, many Zergs really like to go for their second expansion build. Now let's just check once again HARSTEM. There is indeed his cybernetics core, and he might continue with a starport or a robotics facility bay here into his main, as his second gas is also being finished. Now the probe looks like it's going to retreat, actually following here this one overload. But yeah, around the 2-minute and 30-second mark we might see SCARLETT take her second expansion point. Currently she's just pumping out those queens, and yeah, one queen for each expansion here. So yeah, the pretty standard stuff by her. And there is that drone which is going to move out to build the second expansion point really soon into this location. So the 2-minute and 40-second mark is indeed that expansion point. And let's see, one of that is also moving out for HARSTEM. Let's just check. Of course, you can see the production tab in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. And it looks like, yes, indeed, HARSTEM is going for a Stargate build. So he's going for really soon to be I believe, a Oracle harassment. He might also go for some Phoenixes. Seen Protoss go for mass Phoenixes versus Zerg. But no, it's actually an Oracle. So yeah, let's see if this one Oracle will be successful against SCARLETT's mineral line. And yeah, currently she's just mining, she's just preparing her macro-oriented game with her queens. And yeah, she might try to add a spore or two just to have defenses against those oracles. So yeah, the wall has pretty much been complete. The second gateway is being spawned, so no robotics facility bay yet for HARSTEM, as he's going into those oracles. Second oracle as well. So he's going pretty heavily into those oracles, and he might even try a third, even a fourth. We've seen Hero go actually 5 oracles versus Zergs, really deadly against the queens. Currently just this one Stalker sniping a overload, and let's just check where exactly this one oracle has turned to. I'm still searching for it on the minimap. We see the second gateway indeed. I believe this should be, of course, the oracle. Let's see what target is going to be chosen here by HARSTEM. SCARLETT, of course, brings her queens in position. It's a defensive position here, and we might even see a spore. Yes, indeed, there is this one spore. No spore into the main, but one spore will be added here as well. So the defenses look really nicely here by SCARLETT versus HARSTEM. I believe HARSTEM waits for that second oracle, and here we go. We might see some drones getting killed. HARSTEM not paying attention, sadly, for him, as SCARLETT is nicely being able to push this back. So a little bit of a mistake here. A timing mistake by HARSTEM. Sadly, one of his oracles is taking quite some damage. Already in the red, he might go for some other oracles. Oh no, he's actually transitioning into mass gateway units with a robotics facility base. So very soon we will very likely see a timing push with some gateways units and with that war prism Warprism of course being able to teleport those units with that warp technology by the Protoss. Now let's just see what SCARLETT is doing. Preparing her defenses, going for some upgrades, and there we have that one roach warrant into this location, so she will also very likely go for a timing push versus HARSTEM. Now in come the Orcas, of course they will be seeing this one roach warrant already taking quite some damage, so HARSTEM using those Orcas more as a scouting purposes than to damage the units here, the drones by SCARLETT. So let's see, the Warprism is out, some zealots are inside, warp should be done, and here we also see this overload with speed, and we might see, yes indeed, a nice drop, and this one pylon is pretty much exposed, so SCARLETT will very likely target that, and this is a huge blow here against HARSTEM. At the same time, some zealots to intercept these Zerglings, so nice stuff here by SCARLETT. Actually it's a mass push here with some Zerglings, no roaches, just overload, so HARSTEM pretty much has to retreat back home. His zealots are here in position, so we have massive amounts of engagement here throughout the map. Even some queens are attacking, and a nice creep spread here by those overlords, enabling those queens to heal each other. So huge attacks here by SCARLETT. Nice timing by her, no roaches, just mass Zerglings with queens and creep on the ground. At the same time HARSTEM tries of course to make something happen, but SCARLETT proving to be so strong here into this location. Now even some roaches made their way forward, so the second expansion point is pretty much under siege here by SCARLETT. SCARLETT nicely kiting those units, but HARSTEM as well nicely microing his units, and in the end this early rush here is being pushed back. So an interesting strategy here by SCARLETT with Zergling this time, not going for mass roaches. Still HARSTEM was prepared for that with massive amounts of those zealots. Let's see what exactly can he be doing. This Warprism is still in position, he might even try to teleport some more units, but he needs to be careful. There are some queens here to respawn, so the prism takes quite some damage, and sadly here for SCARLETT, sorry for HARSTEM, is going to lose that one Warprism. So a great defense by SCARLETT. Sadly for HARSTEM, he didn't pay attention twice, and that cost him really dearly here. So yeah, in the end a nice trade here by both players. Still same amount of workers, army was SCARLETT having more army than HARSTEM, so nice timing push at the exact time by both players. As interesting enough, like I told you, SCARLETT opted to go for some Zerglings and queens with that creep spread, and she even sniped this one pylon here into this location. So HARSTEM is going to, and as I said, as SCARLETT once again dropping those Zerglings, just moving here freely against the Protoss, showing us a nice tactic here with those dropships, overlords against HARSTEM, sniping some units and even picking up those Zerglings really nicely here for her. She might even try to snipe this one pylon. So HARSTEM needs to of course be careful. It could be a massive amount of a strategy of dropships, overlords against the Protoss. Let's have a look at the worker 56 versus 53. We see a Templar Archives now being produced here by HARSTEM. We might see some Dark Templars, we might also see some High Templars with Psionic Storm, as in comes SCARLETT with her roaches, with her Overseer. There's so many zealots here over take this position, so he should be okay versus the timing push here as we're closing at the 10-minute mark. So very interesting early game here, very aggressive gameplay by both players. Really like that, and yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen as SCARLETT keeps connecting her expansions with that creep on the ground. More queens here into this location. At the same time, just a small amount of Zerglings, how much damage they can do, especially against the players, yes, especially against those ropes by HARSTEM with those dropship overlords. So nice job here by SCARLETT, damaging this one Nexus by HARSTEM. So yeah, really nice gameplay. I believe HARSTEM is going to split his troops now. He has to leave some units into this location, some here as well into this main. Of course, he has left one Stalker just in case there's going to be once again a drop coming in by SCARLETT. So SCARLETT pretty nice gameplay by her. A little bit unpredictable, so HARSTEM having quite a hard time, but at the same time his abusement looks really strong with those zealots with speed legs. Of course, he snapped one queen and 3 workers here now. Want to pick up, but in the end some zealots have to reinforce, sadly left behind, still dealing quite some good amounts of damage, and he might even try to drop some units into this location, but SCARLETT seems to be prepared for that with some queens here. So great gameplay here by both players. Let's see what the next steps are going to be here. And still more and more roaches are being added by SCARLETT, and a nice beeline here being formed with some Zerglings in the front, with some Ravagers. Even some Banelings have been added, so we might see once again SCARLETT move out. Let's just see what her next target is going to be. Perhaps this location, this expansion point, as it is newly created by HARSTEM. This one is already being almost depleted. This one looks still to be fresh, so let's see. Once again, she's picking up her units, this time Baneling, so we're gonna see some Baneling bombs by her. At the same time, once again, an Overseer into this location, but we do have a Phoenix here to defend the location. Now we see an army move out, Zerglings in the front, Banelings in the back, so she is indeed going for this location. At the same time, let's also have a close eye onto those overlords, but holding some great connections with some Banelings left. So still looking at those overlords into this location. So she's of course distracting HARSTEM, and let's see when exactly she's going to attempt a drop here. There's not that many units defending, just a shield battery and some cannons. So yeah, in comes HARSTEM. This time he has some Archons on the ground, so Archons are really strong against those Zerglings, against the Banelings, but this time they're getting nicely surrounded. Great force fields here by HARSTEM, nicely protecting his units. But yeah, the overlords are moving forward, and here we have the first drop going to happen here. Only two, even 5 workers have been killed, so nice job here by SCARLETT. It could have been much more. Let's see if this overlord is going to be more successful. Same time, we see a drop into the main from SCARLETT on the minimap, and here in comes the second drop with some feces out of this overlord on the ground. So nice job, as 10 probes have been killed here in total. Could have been way more, but yeah, nicely done here by HARSTEM. HARSTEM not microing those units, but in the end, luckily for him, only 10 probes have been killed against 8 Banelings, so that was pretty good by him. So let's see, SCARLETT still having control of the middle of the map, still expanding all over the place, creating her defenses with some spine crawlers as she's moving forward to the next expansion point by HARSTEM. HARSTEM having so many Archons on the ground. They are of course strong against those small Zerglings. Even against the roaches, we also see high temperatures with Storm can be really deadly, and actually SCARLETT feeling quite convinced. Although we actually see some 10 workers being killed somewhere on the map. Sadly I did miss this one. Yeah, nice. Now I'm pretty sure it would have been another drop here by SCARLETT, and she's getting pushed back here by HARSTEM. So yeah, those Archons looking really strong against the force by SCARLETT. So once again, SCARLETT is moving forward. She will try perhaps a surround somehow with massive amounts of Zerglings versus HARSTEM, but yeah, HARSTEM even having some Immortals now and adding more and more of those Zealots. So let's see, Banelings are on the ground. She's trying to snipe this one Phoenix, but yeah, it's getting interesting microed by HARSTEM. In come the Archons. At the same time, there's another army attack here into the upper part of the map, so double action here by both players. Yeah, let's see, SCARLETT just roaming around, just leave some Banelings here, and the rally point shows us exactly how those units have been killed. So let's see if HARSTEM is going to be prepared for that. Trying to expand here, but it's getting blocked by those Banelings, so this one lone probe is going to be in quite some trouble. At the same time, HARSTEM has to of course retreat, but he's getting nicely intercepted here by SCARLETT, as those storms are really good intercepting those Banelings. More and more damage going to be dealt with splash damage out of those Archons. So nice job here by HARSTEM, pushing the army from SCARLETT away. Those Banelings have been spawned, but they're not being controlled yet, as they are great height of the storm, and I believe HARSTEM could even push here forward with this strong army with those Archons, with those Immortals. And yes, that's exactly what he is doing, as he's going to be able to kill so many units here by SCARLETT. But yeah, SCARLETT has some spine crawlers, and yeah, HARSTEM feeling more and more confident with those high temper storms. The Archons are in the front, a nice defensive high temper storm, second one, and yes, so many of those units by SCARLETT are being killed here by HARSTEM. HARSTEM heading over the high ground. The Zealots are nicely connecting. The Banelings as well do roll here forward. Yeah, the units for HARSTEM are so tanky. However, in the end, SCARLETT is being able to surround those units. Still HARSTEM holding on with those Immortals, with those Archons, and now he has transitioned into some Stalkers. So it's non-stop action here versus two players. So really great engagement by both of them, as more and more Immortals have been spawned here, and yeah, so much damage being taken left and right. Once again, HARSTEM on the high ground. The Stalkers are nicely damaging the units. Income some zealots, but in the end SCARLETT somehow holds with some reinforcements as HARSTEM is deciding here to pull back, to retreat. You can see more and more roaches, more and more Ravagers are being produced here by SCARLETT. So of course the Ravager with that range attack much better than those roaches. So things have settled down a little bit. We see a transition by HARSTEM into Stalkers later on, even some Tempests, even some Carriers could be a possibility, but I believe he's going to stay into this army composition. Let's see if SCARLETT is going to transition perhaps into some Hydras, into some Lurkers. It would be very interesting to see splash damage, even Fungals, even some Vipers would be interesting to see, just to harpoon those Marauders, sorry, Immortals. Yeah, that was an interesting blink towards the enemy. So yeah, let's see how SCARLETT knocking at the door from HARSTEM, as yeah, massive amounts of Stalkers here for HARSTEM. Let's see, he's going to try for a surround maneuver. He has a good position, so if SCARLETT is going to commit, she's going to be pretty much surrounded, but at the same time he's preparing once again an attack with some Banelings, so she's just distracting HARSTEM here. And slowly but steadily we're closing at the 20-minute mark. We're still anyone's game. HARSTEM once again feeling really confident, linking forward, trying of course to attack so much of the units from SCARLETT. At the same time SCARLETT's Banelings are here in this location, but let's see where they will attack. I believe he's heading straight towards the main force, but at the same time some probes have been killed here into this location by SCARLETT, so nice job, but in the end she's going to lose so many Banelings against those forces. And the only one lone Baneling is being left as it is rolling here forward towards the base, but I believe it's going to get intercepted really soon. So yeah, great defense by HARSTEM, as he's still feeling really confident. He has the high ground here, he has the splash damage available with those Archons, and yeah, there's the high temper storm nicely being used. Great storms here by HARSTEM versus SCARLETT, as once again HARSTEM preparing an attack with some zealots in the upper right part. And yeah, let's just see what exactly is going to happen here, as once again HARSTEM with being more aggressive, more present on the map, at the same time also very aggressively expanding here towards SCARLETT, really close towards her expansion points. And it's a nice cat and mouse, nice kiting back and forth by both players. Still SCARLETT getting better connection with those Ravagers, and I believe I did see some Broodlords, yes indeed. So do we have a transition into Broodlords here by SCARLETT? As now HARSTEM feeling really confident, but he needs to be careful against those Broodlords. They are not that fast moving, and those Immortals are pretty much exposed, so he also needs to micro them back. And yeah, it's a nice kiting back and forward game. And now sadly here for HARSTEM, his Immortals will take so much damage. One Immortal after the other is being sniped here as HARSTEM retreats with some high temper storm, and now even those high tempers are pretty much being exposed here as the dragons will get some good connections. And sadly for HARSTEM, this one expansion is pretty much exposed, so they just trade expansions here. HARSTEM taking out the Hatchery and SCARLETT taking out the Nexus point. So nice drop here by both players. Very exciting game. We still see some Banelings, now it's just roaches and Archons into this location, but SCARLETT looks like she's going to pretty much commit here. She has so many Zerglings in the front, of course they will be used as cannon for her, but in come those Archons, and with that splash damage, any attack out of those Zerglings will of course be intercepted and be killed. So pretty soon we're going to make it towards the 20-minute mark. More and more of those high tempers are of course needed here for HARSTEM, for those storms and for those Archons. So quite an interesting game we have here in between SCARLETT and HARSTEM on Cosmic Sapphire. Let's see what exactly is going to happen. One Queen is going to get sniped. Some Banelings might get sniped here as well if HARSTEM is paying attention. Let's see. Some Creep Eggs are also being sniped, and in comes SCARLETT with a little bit of a boost of a speed onto this one Creep, and great storms here by HARSTEM against SCARLETT. So yeah, things have calmed down a little bit, but once again those buildings did get quite some great kills in the end. They will be intercepted with a nice blink here forward by HARSTEM. So nice job here by both players. And there's still more and more damage that's going to happen here around the map. I believe SCARLETT might even try to take this one gold mine into this location. So a very interesting gold mine here, as yes indeed she's going to commit for that. And yeah, HARSTEM playing now a little bit more defensively against SCARLETT, as of course SCARLETT has those Broodlords in the air, so what could be a counter against those Protoss. I believe even some Phoenixes could be added, some Carriers, some Void Rays, Tempests might... Actually, Tempest could be a great option here for HARSTEM, and as I said, this, yes indeed, it is going to be mass Tempests. They can be nicely kited back and forward against the Broodlords. Even Carriers could be an option. And yes indeed, HARSTEM was just going straight for this one for this one Broodlord, so even sniping them, and yeah, those Tempests proving to be really strong. Not very fast of a movement speed, but also not very fast attack speed. But yeah, in the end, look at that, he's able to snipe one unit after another. Quite a strong force if you migrate correctly and if you're protected correctly, as those Daemons will be able to clear the Zealots. So we have a great game. Nice transition by both players into new units. As we have a very nice late game, a nice macro oriented game by both players. And perhaps this one gold mine is going to be a success for SCARLETT. So HARSTEM really has to punish this new expansion by SCARLETT. And let's see what exactly is going to happen. More some long distance mining, some banings to get some connections here. And yet still anyone's game, of course. Those players hurting each other's economy really nicely. And let's have a look. Nice sniping here attempt by HARSTEM versus this one hatchery. The hatchery is already bleeding. So yeah, HARSTEM of course is not going to allow this expansion here. Very important, a very strategic expansion here by SCARLETT. But in the end it's going to get destroyed here by HARSTEM. So yeah, let's see, still a defensive gameplay here by HARSTEM, and a nice decision by him to go into those Tempests versus SCARLETT. And SCARLETT going for some spine crawlers. Those spine crawlers could be later added into this location just to have more and more of that defensive power. And yeah, we even have some corruptors against the Tempest, so both players are pretty much being maxed out. And let's just see what exactly the next steps are going to be by the both players. All of a sudden, both of them playing very much defensively. SCARLETT might try to commit here, but this small choke point will work against her, so she has to retreat. Yeah, like I told you, still anyone's game. Very interesting unit composition. Still, however, no infestors for SCARLETT, just a couple of them. No vipers for her either, but we might see some great fungus now, as actually she has transitioned into 7 infestors here. So let's see if this is going to work out, as once again HARSTEM is going to cancel this expansion point. Sadly, SCARLETT not reacting, as some drones will fall here as well, so a little bit of a mistake, but it happens of course. Yeah, HARSTEM now even having a mothership towards his units, so let's see if this one mothership can be of a use for him. Of course, making all of those units invisible, just like the Arbiter does in Starcraft Broodwar Remastered. So such a nice unit to have, but a very fragile unit that it is moving very slow. And yeah, still some zealots are being sacrificed here, but 11 drones have been sniped. Work-wise, sadly SCARLETT dropping here to 60 workers versus the 76 from HARSTEM. So yeah, HARSTEM proving to be quite strong here versus SCARLETT. Let's see where exactly he's going to be attacking. I believe this expansion point is of course really important. It is the last mining point by SCARLETT. She also has this expansion point, but not that much minerals are being left. HARSTEM having great vision. He's going to be able to snipe so many queen eggs here, given the fact that he had such a great range with those invisible void rays. They look very nicely here with this one mothership. I'm just going to zoom on a little bit here. We have a small city here, perhaps into this one mothership, and the Archons also looking really nicely here, very much invisible. And here we have some great harpoons into those spores. Nice job here by SCARLETT harpooning those units, and if she's lucky, if she killed enough just to harpoon unit after unit, you might have the advantage, but it's going to be so hard to execute. But hold on, we actually see an attack here, surprise attack by SCARLETT, and we see a recall with just a couple of Archons here, interestingly enough. So perhaps a mistake here by HARSTEM, just perhaps a fake teleportation by him, but now he's coming in from the back, so it's going to surround those units. One Archon has been snapped, so interesting strategy here by HARSTEM. A bit of a strategic point just to teleport just a couple of units back and then intercept from the back. So nice job here by HARSTEM. But in all of this time, this expansion has indeed been finished, and some spine crawlers have been added just to avoid those zealots coming in. We even see some carriers now that have been added here by HARSTEM, but SCARLETT should be prepared for that with many corruptors in the air near those Broodlords. Let's see where exactly this is going to be taking us. So many Zerglings as well. Nice upgrades as you can see here for both players, as we might see an engagement here in the middle of the map very much soon. Great flank here by HARSTEM as he's going to intercept those Broodlords. Just sniping two Broodlords. Every unit counts a lot, and I believe SCARLETT should have to intercept the investors are on the ground. And yeah, we should see some fungals really soon. Let's have a look. Still anyone's game. A nice kiting back and forward game by both players. Counter ship is in location. Some queens might get sniped. Even more spores have been added. Nice feedbacks by those high tempers. But I believe Storm could be even better than feedbacks. And let's see. In comes HARSTEM with his units. He has a good position. His high tempers are a little bit exposed, so that's why he's going to deplete the storms, and at the same time now in come those tempers. Perfect counter against all of those dark swarms. And yeah, in comes SCARLETT with some Zerglings into this one location, but her expansion point is pretty much exposed. She has to do something, but what exactly against those Archons? Those Corruptors are pretty much useless, and yeah, the Tempests are nicely being kited back and forward by HARSTEM. So still anyone's game. Some drones might be intercepted, but of course HARSTEM is going for the more important units, for those Corruptors, for those Broodlords. Nicely showing us the strengths out of those Tempests, nicely kiting them back and forth, and just sniping unit after unit. Great micro here by the Dutch player. Very important micro, just snapping unit after unit. Really greatly done by him. And yes, SCARLETT pretty much has to now commit. She's moving forward, but she eats some. I can storm. Even a red bubble has been casted here by the mothership. Now HARSTEM nicely attacking here, but the same thing be said here by SCARLETT. As Broodwar left, the Broodwar is going to get killed by those Tempests. And in come those Corruptors. They're still pretty much alive. And yes, so many Archons on the ground. So much splash damage here against SCARLETT. Going to be taking as in comes some Zerglings from the back, but still HARSTEM has to of course hold his ground. But did sadly for him lose those Tempests. But in the end, the carriers are still alive, and some Tempests are still hidden here. You can barely see them. So HARSTEM with a great hold here. I believe he came out as a victor. Yes, indeed, he has more supply here against SCARLETT, so SCARLETT somehow needs to come back, perhaps with some Vipers, with some parasitic bombs, with some fungals. I didn't see any fungals against those units. And yeah, now let's see what SCARLETT is going to be doing. She's going to counterattack with some Zerglings. The same can be said here by HARSTEM with some Zealots. Yeah, the real action is happening here, of course, and look at that, 3 more Archons have added. And we see a teleportation back. Where exactly is he going? Here into this location, so just to fend off the attack by some Zerglings. So yeah, in the end, 44 workers have been remaining for SCARLETT, 56 for HARSTEM, as we now see some ultra risk on the ground. So interesting decision here by SCARLETT, going for some ultra risk and some Corruptors in the air. Corruptors, of course, to counter the Tempests, and the ultra risk to give more tankiness on the ground. It's a very interesting game. We still are approaching the 30-minute game counter, and it's still anyone's game. However, SCARLETT having this one gold mine, such an important gold mine to have in the late game. And let's see where exactly HARSTEM is mining from. He's still mining from here in this expansion as well, but there is a gold mine here for SCARLETT, so this could be a turning point for her, as so much money, so many minerals and gold is being mined. So yeah, the ultra risk will take care of the last nexus is here for HARSTEM. Some units are pulling here forward, but needs to be careful. One ultra risk is getting trapped, second one as well. Such a huge unit to have. But yeah, great splash damage by it. Look at that, dealing with those that's really nicely. At the same time, in come the Corruptors. They will take care of those Tempests, so I believe this was the plan by SCARLETT, just to split up the troops. And yeah, those Corruptors not being attacked by any carriers, by any Archons. So nice job here by her, and she might even try to vomit here all over the place. Let's see if she's going to vomit. Yes, indeed, she's going to vomit onto those Stargates. So nice job here by her, taking out the important production buildings by HARSTEM. So yeah, one Stargate is about to fall, the second one as well. A strong fleet of Corruptors by SCARLETT, and now in comes the attack by HARSTEM. Of course, he knows how important this expansion is. SCARLETT might try a flank to attack those carriers. There's so many carriers, still 2 Archons on the ground, and SCARLETT has to retreat. Her hatchery is going to fall very much fast, as some Zealots will also be intercepted. So right now I believe not that much mining is going on here for SCARLETT. The same can be said for HARSTEM, only having this one expansion. Yeah, actually SCARLETT not mining at all. She has to remake a expansion really soon. She might try to long distance mine. And what exactly can she do now against this fleet of carriers in the air? Relieve some great fungus, some disease clouds could be used by the Vipers just to counter this. And let's see, HARSTEM looking like he's pretty much going to commit here. He's moving more and more forward of his units. Another hatchery is about to get sniped. SCARLETT is going to try to intercept very much soon. But yeah, the fleet is pretty much exposed. Once again, one carrier has been nicely sniped. Some interceptors as well. So SCARLETT trying to find, of course, a good position for those corruptors. And just slowly but steadily taking out the important carriers from HARSTEM. And yeah, HARSTEM leaves, of course, the Archons in the front. They will be the counter against those corruptors. And yeah, let's see, HARSTEM trying to find a good position. He knows, of course, that this location is the last mining, or will be the last mining location for SCARLETT, so there is exactly where he's heading, but he needs to protect those carriers as they're not that fast moving. And in comes another snipe by SCARLETT, nicely taking out carrier after carrier, but we even have some immortals on the ground. So in comes the attack. Some Zerglings are in the front, even some drones will be used here as a meat grinder. So let's see what exactly, who is going to have the better position here into the late game. Even some long distance mining here by HARSTEM. But hold on, we actually might see the last push, the last attack. We even see an infestor. Actually so many infestors. We might see some great fungals by SCARLETT. This could be really deadly against HARSTEM, but she's not paying attention. We have actually mind control, and here we go. Great sonic storm, nice kiting back and forth by SCARLETT, sniping one unit after the other. The Archons are still pretty much alive. And who has won? HARSTEM has actually won, as SCARLETT is going to GG out. So in the end, HARSTEM taking this great game here. Such a balanced game in the end. I still didn't have known who would have won it, but yeah, in the end, HARSTEM taking this game. Really nice game by both of them. So yeah, once again, I hope you enjoyed this game as much as I did. We'll be seeing, of course, in the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.